I can't look at my husband without feeling guilty after nearly ending our daughter. My husband, 31 male, and I, 29 female, have been excited for the longest time anticipating the birth of our daughter. It was a difficult pregnancy, and we both had absolutely no clue WTF we are doing, yet we were the happiest we'd ever been. We were about to be parents. We went to the hospital on the 30th to endure labor since she was a few days past her due date and we were just growing anxious. Turns out my blood pressure spiked severely. And Jesus, when I say that, labor pain is honestly the most excruciating thing in the world. Even as someone with a high pain tolerance, I mean it. I'm sorry for the TMI, but I had a lot of bleeding and I was honestly exhausted by the time I even started pushing. My husband was right there with me looking so terrified and I was basically passing out because I felt like I just couldn't do it. Dr. The attempted at doing an assisted extraction using a medical suction tool, and that too failed. So last resort was rushing me to surgery for a C-section. I was put under and woke up to being wheeled back to a room. I kept asking where she was, and my husband just told me she was being taken care of and I needed to rest. Apparently it took longer than normal for me to even wake up. When I was coherent enough, I found out there had been some complications. I was like, but she's okay, right? And my husband said, yeah, she's perfect. She just needed extra care because of how traumatic the birth was on both of us. My heart rate got dangerous low at one point too, and my husband was dealing with all of this alone. She stopped breathing and also ingested some fecal matter, and it took 15 minutes of chest compressions to get her back again. My husband had opted to wait to tell me this after I'd still been put on high alert due to my blood pressure, and he didn't want me to risk spiking it again as that was a major concern. Doctor told me she is doing well, she's alive, but they can't tell what kind of damage lack of oxygen might have to her brain. She is gonna be okay? Or how it might affect her in the future, because it's too early to tell the severity of it all right now. I just stared at my daughter hooked up to all those tubes in an incubator. I walked to the bathroom and sat on the floor crying for an hour. I feel like I failed her. My one job was to get her into the world safely, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it right, and she might suffer because of it. My husband thinks I'm mad at him for not telling me the truth earlier, but I know he had a similar meltdown from what my family told me while the doctors were trying to help me as well. I told him I understand, but I don't think he believes me. I just can't talk to him properly. I told him I failed us, and he just keeps being amazing and positive, and I feel like I don't deserve any of it. Granted, it hasn't been a week yet. My daughter is still in a neonatal ICU unit doing well, but I feel like a horrible waste of the term mother and wife RN. I don't really know what advice I'm looking for. How do I help my husband, my daughter, Lowell, myself? I know we need counseling, but RN, I'm still healing, shouldn't be on my feet, but I'm doing hospital runs to be able to see my daughter frequently and bring her the milk I pumped. All our focus is on getting her home ATM. I have a BP check tomorrow because I'm on meds now, F's. Still dealing with stitches again. This happened last Tuesday. It's fresh, and I'm still on medication, and so I'm fucking lost here, people. I don't know what I want. Maybe just a vent. I've seen some pretty amazing people in this sub, and I just feel utterly defeated. I woke up from a nightmare dreaming about being BK on the bed during labor pushing, and I woke up crying with him holding me. I just don't know where to go from here. Adi, hi, I'm Liz, my husband is John, and our daughter is Leah. Edit 2, I haven't opened any comments I saw 2 pop up, and I was in tears again, so I'll slowly try to do that. Just context, I guess. Everyone in my family has kids, most had them as teens, and Liz as an only child to a single mom wanted commitment, marriage, and stability, so I'm the last person out of a big family to have gotten pregnant so late. No one ever had issues, so when I went on my due date, maybe something is wrong, should I go to the hospital? Everyone said no, it's normal to go past your due date, you just have to wait. So I waited a day, and I was panicked and stressed, but everyone kept telling me how irrational I was being, despite my husband saying if I wanted to go, we should go. I didn't want to seem like the crazy new mommy that was overreacting, so I waited another day. I guess I'm constantly thinking about how I should have gone in. I shouldn't have waited. I should have been less nice at the hospital and made more of a fuss when I felt like I was losing too much strength during my contractions even. even. I work with kids. I fucking love kids. I've always wanted them. Leah might have issues with her motor skills, her speech, her brain development, even as a whole. She is currently on antibiotics and a feeding tube, even though she has shown she is a fighter. In no way am I gonna love her less if she has any difficulties. I have worked with special needs kids, but the reality is I know how hard shit is for them. And me feeling like I waited too long and I couldn't just put 10 kids like my grandmother made me feel like I was just not fit for any of this. Thank you so much to everyone commenting. Update 1. Hey, Liz here again. I don't really know what to say here except thank you for everything. I still feel pretty high strung, especially with how unbelievably stressful this situation keeps getting and how I'm once again forced to kind of put my big girl pants on and push through it alone. So I will just post a message. I replied to a very kind Redditor who reached out, "Hey, I hope you are well. I don't really know what to say here, lol." So the hospital called me back. Basically, I need to do feedings with Leah while she's on all her meds. Luckily, the feeding tube is out, which is a big yay. But I need to be here now, 24/7, sleeping in a chair, basically, because of a lack of beds and dealing with a screaming newborn I have zero idea how to care for, and I just want to scream. My husband isn't allowed in the room at all because it's shared with other moms who are also breastfeeding constantly. So if he wants to see us, we have to go stand in the hallway. And right now, she's getting blood drawn, screaming bloody murder while I wait outside trying to not cry. I'm failing. BTW, I'm crying, lol. They said a few more days, and I don't know if I can do this. I did tell the doctor I wanted to speak to a therapist, though Leah is doing well. She had an infection, though is on antibiotics. Hence the blood test to see if LTS cleared up. They say a few more days, but I can barely manage the nights on my own. She's constantly up and crying, and I feel like I don't know WTF to do, so I sometimes cry with her. I just want us to go home. I miss my husband, who is busy missing meals because he's so focused on us. He's not feeling too well, RN. When I asked him when last he ate properly, I had to help him remember, and that was Sunday night. At home is support and love and family. That's all I'm focused on now. Taking such good care of her here that the doctors want to send us home. Adding some details. Now is the waiting game. Basically waiting for test results and then reassessing. Good news is what I'm taking from it. She's okay. She's alive. She's off the feeding tube. She has fantastic fucking lungs because she keeps everyone awake all night long using them. Her father is absolutely besotted with her. She frowns whenever I touch her feet. I don't like people touching my feet either. Lol. She's gorgeous. She really is. I want to go home. I want her to go home. I need support, I do. I'm trying to hold on best I can and not fall apart. It's rough. Sleeping in a chair is definitely affecting my stitches, and I am in a lot of pain a lot of the time. But yeah, for now, THT's all I can say, I guess. Thank you for all the lovely words and support. I don't know how many of you will actually see this. Edit. Good news. So hospital is hooking me up with an occupational therapist to help me get accustomed to helping Leah the best I can with movement and exercises that are good for her body and brain. My husband, being his wonderful self, went to speak to his boss today about arranging his working hours to accommodate that when we get to go home. It'll be maybe 3 to 4 times a week. Blood work came back, and although we can't go home yet, I'm trying to convey the message I got all medically on a tired brain so doctors or whoever may correct me. So they did blood work, and her viral count for being able to fight off infection, I think is what the DR said should be a 10 for a healthy child, so that if she gets sick, she'll be okay. At birth, Leah's was 24 then, spiked to a 30. Why she went on antibiotics and needs to be monitored. Good news is after today's blood work, it's at 14, so not a 10 yet. But it's proof the antibiotics are working, and that she is on her way to being a roadworthy. That's a bad joke from my husband. I don't really get it, but he said it and laughed for like a whole min. So as much as I hate this hospital, I can do a whole month if it means she will be healthy. So by Friday, we should be going home, or latest Saturday morning. Spoke to the doctor again. She assured me the baby blues are normal and they will connect me to a therapist, but I know with public health, and especially mental health in my country, it takes a while. And all our finances went into preparing for her. And with me being like this IDK when I'll be going BK to work, especially with having to give her all our attention. So we will see. If they set it up, I'll need my husband to get help too. I don't think he wants to admit how much this actually affected him. He doesn't eat much, and he was spaced out today, and I had a heart-to-heart with him about how much we appreciate him and how he is amazing for even being there with me and not freaking out or getting scared. I know a lot of men, especially in my family, refuse to even be in the delivery room for any births. He kind of broke down a little and said it was scary watching me like that, and then watching the same thing with her, he felt helpless. I told him how much I adore him, and he just told me he loved me, and that's enough. I'll keep trying with him though. I need him to not neglect himself. He is absolutely in love with her though, even finds her frowning to be the most adorable thing in the world. I think I lost him, lol. So yeah, that's about it. We will be okay. I know it. It feels a bit much right now, and me getting overwhelmed by a crying baby sucks, but all babies cry. That's what I'm telling myself. It's perfectly normal, and we are gonna take each day just one day at a time. Again, thank you to everyone, even the ones just reading here, and everyone that commented before. You guys proved not all of the internet is crazy and toxic. I appreciate you. If anything major changes, I might update. For now, thank you all from our family. New edit 4. So Jesus, there is something so wrong with people. My God. I got a very interesting message. I'm so glad I read, only after replying here, because if my mental state was anything other than positive WDF even. So people send messages like this. Hi, I just want to say yes, you did fail your daughter, but you don't have to fail yourself. Lack of oxygen is a big deal. Your daughter will have issues. Look up Rosemary Kennedy. You don't want to go through that. I'm just saying, for your own quality of life, get rid of her. Put her up for adoption, because she's gonna have issues and you don't seem to have enough money or education for that. Apparently what's best for Leah is her family that loves her should give her up to save ourselves the burden of possibly having a child with difficulties, because that's clearly what parenting is. Please, anyone with bullshit like this, I am becoming myself very much again. Do not send me this utter trash. I am so thankful I am of sound mind to know this person is either a horrible troll or someone who would push their mother off a goddamn bridge to save themselves.